to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on, you...
Man, it turns out Diddy was acting even crazier than anyone thought. And now Terrence Howard just dropped some jaw-dropping bombshells. People have been out here saying Diddy's actually chill. Nothing like how the media paints him. But Terrence? He's not buying any of it. Not for a second. According to him, Diddy allegedly crossed a serious line. He even claims Diddy made some moves on him and tried to sexually assault him. Yeah, you heard that right. And that's not even the half of it. Terrence went on to spill some wild behind-the-scenes tea about the shady stuff that went down at one of those infamous freaky parties Diddy's known for throwing.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach. And you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man.
If you thought you'd already heard the worst of it, buckle up. It's about to get way crazier. Now, one thing about Terrence Howard, he's never been the type to hold his tongue when it comes to calling out the dark side of Hollywood. He might not be as loud or in your face as Cat Williams or Jaguar Wright, but when Terrence speaks, he brings nothing but real talk. He's been pulling back the curtain on how the industry plays twisted games with black men, trying to strip away their masculinity. And guess what? It got so bad, he ended up walking away from Hollywood altogether.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some overgraded.
Word on the street is that Diddy was the final straw, the thing that made Terrence Howard walk away from Hollywood for good. But hold up, we'll get to that heavy part in a second. Way back, Terrence actually opened up about why he really dipped out of the industry. And no, it wasn't because he was tired or couldn't land roles. Not even close. He said it had everything to do with how the industry kept trying to force him into roles and situations that made him feel like his manhood was being stripped away. And the moment he stood up and said, "Nah, I'm not doing that," everything changed. Overnight, the same people who were praising him started labeling him difficult and hard to work with. Sound familiar? That's Hollywood's go-to play when someone refuses to join their dirty little game. We've seen it happen too many times. Monique, Cat Williams, and a long list of celebs who dared to push back. Now let's be real, nobody's saying Terrence Howard is squeaky clean. The man's had his fair share of drama. For a while, it seemed like his personal life was getting more headlines than his actual career. Back in 2010, his first wife accused him of getting physical, and the story exploded. People were outraged, and things got ugly, fast, but that wasn't even the end of it. In 2011, his second wife, Michelle Gent, filed for a restraining order, claiming domestic violence. The court granted it, and the firestorm just got bigger. People everywhere started side-eyeing Terrence, wondering who he really was behind closed doors. And here's the wild part. He didn't exactly deny it. In fact, he talked about it openly in interviews. He once even admitted straight up that he slapped his second wife right in front of their kid. His words were, "She was talking to me, real strong, and I lost my mind and slapped her in front of the kids." Crazy, right? But what really makes you stop and think is this. Even with all those serious allegations, his career barely missed a beat. He kept landing major roles like nothing ever happened. He slid right back into the spotlight, even after admitting to some of the claims. Terrence ended up scoring the role of Lucius Lyon on Empire, and that show blew up. It was one of the biggest things on TV while it ran. And despite the heat, Terrence didn't seem to take much of a hit professionally, which made it all the more shocking when, out of nowhere, in December 2022, he announced he was retiring from acting. People were stunned. The timing felt way off. He was still getting major roles, the fans still rocked with him, and there was no public scandal or drama at the time that would explain it. But according to Terrence, there was way more going on behind the scenes. He says the industry kept putting him in setups that made him feel like his masculinity was being chipped away, bit by bit, and when he finally stood up and said, "I'm not doing this anymore," Hollywood didn't hesitate. They boxed him out, left him with no choice but to walk away completely. But here's the twist. His so-called retirement didn't last long. Terrence ended up stepping back into the spotlight, and this time, he came back swinging. He's been brutally honest ever since, calling out the shady underbelly of Hollywood. One thing he keeps repeating is the pressure he says he felt to wear dresses on camera, multiple times. According to him, these suggestions weren't about the role or the story. They were just random and felt like calculated attempts to humiliate him and take away his manhood. He says this was just one more tactic the industry used to control people, especially black men who dared to say no. And he's not the only one saying it. For years, black actors and comedians have been calling out the same thing. Producers allegedly trying to get them to wear dresses, not because it fits the character, but to break them down. Dave Chappelle has been loud about this for years, calling it out as part of a pattern, a Hollywood agenda to feminize black men. He mimes some, says refusing to play that game got him in serious trouble behind the scenes, real beef with major industry players, and it cost him big opportunities. Cat Williams backed that up in his Club Shay Shay interview. He didn't hold back either, calling out the whole twisted game. And Terrence, he jumped online right away to back Cat up, and for the first time, really explained why he tried to leave Hollywood in the first place. Terrence didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "My daddy taught me, never take the vertebrae out of your back or the base out of your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raise men. Stay a man." Then he dropped the mic. "Being a man comes with a curse now. This isn't a world made for men to thrive. Everything's androgynous." He didn't stop there. Terrence said the most successful men today are the ones being pushed to act soft, while strong men are viewed as threats. He said, "They let white men be strong, but when black men do it, they get demonized. They want us emasculated." And he made it clear he's not about to water himself down just to fit into someone else's script. Now, what's all this got to do with Diddy? Well, according to Terrence, everything. He hinted that Diddy might have been one of the main guys pushing that whole agenda. Terrence talked about some dark things he says went down at Diddy's infamous parties. And that's when things got real messy. He said those parties weren't just music, drinks, and vibes. They were setups, straight-up traps, where black men were allegedly put in compromising situations on purpose, while powerful people just watched. And it wasn't about fun, it was about control. According to Terrence, once they had dirt on you, they could use it to keep you quiet, force you to play along, or destroy your career if you ever stepped out of line. He didn't name names or spill all the tea, but what he did say was enough to shake people. It made folks realize the price of fame might be way darker than we ever imagined. And if what Terrence is saying is true, then Diddy's parties weren't just wild. They were dangerous, especially for anyone trying to hold on to their name, their power, and their soul. But here's where it really gets disturbing. Terrence claims that one time Diddy invited him over under the pretense of needing help with some acting stuff, but as soon as he showed up, the vibe flipped. Terrence says Diddy allegedly made a move on him. Plain and simple. No confusion, no misunderstanding. And Terrence made it clear. He shut it down on the spot. He wasn't about to play that game. Every time we hear more about Diddy, the story just gets murkier. Fans have been sounding off too. One person said, "I couldn't imagine giving up my manhood and self-respect for fame." Another added, "I'd rather be broke than broken. Spirit over money, any day." Terrence is saying out loud what most are too scared to even whisper. The dark side of Hollywood isn't just gossip anymore, it's looking more and more like a full-blown machine of control and corruption, and with names like Diddy and Epstein getting tossed around, not just as blackmailers, but rumored key players in Project Monarch. It's getting real out here. But hey, I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, share it around, and don't forget to subscribe. Because trust me, this story, it's only getting wilder.